Aquis listed SulNOx invents fuel conditioners to companies burning hydrocarbon liquid fuels and formulated from natural biodegradable ingredients. It helps to cut further the carbon footprint. Ben Richardson is chief executive. He joins us now with more. Ben, welcome. That's a very simplified explanation about what you do. I think you're going to have to fill in a few gaps. But we get the general trend. You're a company that's helping us transition into this new era of burning fuels. Explain more about your raison d'etre.
Yes. So as you rightly say, we're a company that is an energy transition solution. So we are dealing with the problems of today, which is reducing the need to reduce the consumption of liquid hydrocarbons like petrol and diesel as we try and reduce the climate impact of those products. And our company is able to provide that instant, tangible solution today to help companies get to net zero by reducing their carbon footprint.
And which sort of companies are you targeting? I talk at the top about those companies burning hydrocarbon liquid fuels. This sounds like a fairly narrow, small niche market.
So the market that we can influence is as much as 70% of every barrel of oil. So we're talking all petrol stations and fuel distribution across the globe. We're talking all transportation and logistics. We're talking the huge maritime sector, as well as mining and power stations and even defense.
So it is industrials, basically.
It is industrials. But
if you look at the website, it's got a big picture of a ship on it. Is that by far and away the biggest part of your...
Well, that's the one where we've probably printed half of our revenues in the last couple of quarters, and the one that's growing the most. Now, why have we focused on shipping? Well, for a start, there are 62,000 gigantic ships on the planet that move the world's goods around. Those ships, those vessels, they burn anywhere 20 to up to 300 tons of fuel a day. So it's a huge market that our products can influence dramatically. And also, they are now being forced by regulation into reducing their carbon footprints. And we are a zero capex solution, simply a pour-in product that can dramatically reduce their consumption 5 or 10%. Now, doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're burning, tons of fuel a day, if we look at a ship burning 20 tons a day, that will probably save them about $250,000 per annum per vessel.
So why hasn't this been done before? I don't understand why this gap has been left to remain there, when if it's actually not just taking us through to carbon zero, it's helping us on that transition, but also it's actually going to save money. Yeah. This is a gap that seems to have been gaping wide for some time.
Yes, but we are a company that is all green and all natural and patented in nature. So we are new to this market, but engines are becoming more and more efficient, internal combustion engines. But what no one's really focused on is the fuel. What we are doing is we're enhancing the potential energy in the fuel to make it go further. And by improving combustion, you reduce emissions. So we're targeting the actual fuel itself rather than the engines.
How many products do you have on the market at the moment? What are you marketing?
So we have three principal products. We have one, the core green emulsifier, which works with water to dramatically reduce emissions, and that works in heavy fuel oils. The main product, though, that we use is the eco conditioner. You or I can buy it on Amazon, but we're now using that in petrol stations and shipping and mining, as I mentioned before. And that is the product that not only reduces consumption, but it cleans and it lubricates as well. So benefits the engine mechanically as another benefit. And then what we've done is reverse the chemistry of the emulsifiers, a bit technical that, but basically waste oil with water, we're able to recycle that and use it again. So we enhance waste oil reclamation processes, which is a huge market that no one's really explored yet.
And to confirm, SulNOx owns the patents on all the products that you've developed or you've helped market?
Yes, absolutely. We're now patented in all of the major regions around the world, and we continue to gain smaller patents.
Talking about gain, I want to pick up on the release recently of your full year results. Revenues up, more than double on 2023 in the same period. Fourth quarter results 3 times the record of Q3 and Q4. We're only talking small numbers. It has to be said. Anybody looking at these figures, I won't go into the details. You can see those on the RNS release. But you're going in the right direction. I think that's the message here. You are a small embryonic company which is trying to gain a foothold in the market, which at the moment certainly seems to be going in the right direction. What was it that drove that startling increase in money through the door?
Well, really, it's time spent, research done, and testimonials from customers. So if we look at the marine sector, it's a market where everyone is suspicious. They've had additive products before which just simply haven't delivered. We've now been able to demonstrate repeatedly how we can save 5 or 6% across the fleet, which is it's an enormous fuel saving, cost saving for them, and it comes with huge emissions reductions. I mean, the black smoke you see that comes out of a ship's funnel, which you see a cruise ship sat there, you can see it. We can reduce that by more than 50%. So it's not only a cost saving, it's an environmental benefit, but also gives an ESG story for the shipping world. So now we're getting going in that space. That's why we're seeing such dramatic numbers. Now, to give you an idea, there's 62,000 large vessels across the world. For us to be profitable as a company, we probably only need 40 or so of those vessels to adopt full time. So it really is a tiny slice, and you can quickly see if we can become profitable with 40 vessels, then the 5,600 that we're currently talking to, you can see why there's so much potential and upside to the shares.
Where do you manufacture this product?
So the product is made by a company called Nurian. They're owned by Carlyle, so big private equity company. They used to be called AkzoNobel, so we probably all know them. And the beauty of having those guys make the product for us is, firstly, they're in 80 countries, and secondly, they can provide it at scale in anywhere in the world that we need, obviously with the quality assurance that comes with such a major name. So for a shipping company, they go randomly tramping around the world often and they don't know where they're next going. Having a company like Nurian behind us to provide that sort of guaranteed production is very vital.
What about your marketing spend? Is it horrendously large? Is it a large part of your business?
No, actually, it's the opposite. It's something we've really underinvested in. And only now, as we start to gain momentum and revenues with the testimonials and the science, now is the time for us to start pushing into marketing.
With those testimonials, are you receiving companies through the door saying, can we find out more? Or are you still having to go out and say, look, try this?
It's a bit of both, I mean, if I'm honest, but yes, we're seeing more and more companies come to us as they hear about the brand. And what's happening in Africa, for instance, the brand is really starting to take off. It's becoming a viral name in Ghana, for instance, where we're stocking it in petrol stations, and that's leading to increased volumes, but critically committed repeat revenues on bigger companies like trucking companies and others. So the brand is really going strong, but we need to certainly develop it more.
This sounds like a product that should be attached to a large oil business somewhere. What do you see as the future for SulNOx? Do you think there is a future as an independent company, or would you like to be bought out by a bigger business that can really lever some really fast growth?
So we would definitely welcome the investment of major oil companies or indeed fuel trading companies into SulNOx. We would welcome that to help with the growth of the company. I think we are at a stage where we're probably too small to be looked at by the biggest companies. But I think with a big brother, as I might call it, then we can certainly grow a lot faster, and I think that would be really beneficial.
What do you judge to be the size of the market that SulNOx is aiming at? How big is it?
Well, it's as I said, it's as much as 70% of every barrel of oil. So it's all petrol and gasoline. It's diesel. It's all the heavy fuel oils and marine oils. But really, also excitingly, we're moving into biofuels. So the International Energy Agency is saying that come 2050, probably 30% of the world's fuels will still be fossil or biofuels. Now, SulNOx is also able to stabilize and deal with the water issues associated with biofuels. And so this is a huge market that we can grow into as well.
Let's take a look at the share price chart. This says quite a lot, actually. It goes back to 2022, and the low point down here, it was just sub 4p. Here we are now at 31.60. As I say, you're listed on Aquis. This is the direction of travel that a lot of companies would like to see. AIM and indeed, well, let's just say small cap companies are finding it difficult at the moment. Doesn't matter whether it's AIM or Aquis or FTSE 250 companies, and some they'd all love to have a direction of travel in this way. As I said, we are talking small numbers in terms of turnover and your gradual getting going in the market. How do you see this developing in terms of the numbers we've seen? Do you see multiples of that happening over the next few quarters as you begin to pick up business, and will that be supported or supporting a rise in the share price?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The trend we're seeing is as just incredible interest, especially across Africa, where the fuel quality is awful and the vehicles are old, and we can benefit on both fronts with an increasing look to the green side of reducing emissions as well. But what we're really seeing is momentum across multiple industries in multiple geographies, and we're sold in 34 countries today. But really, we've just dipped our toe in a few of them, and mass markets like India and China, and indeed the States, where we haven't really grown, are still to come. So really, the potential is enormous for SulNOx.
Mm. What's your background in all this? Clearly, you have a few scientists on board that are able to help with the science of it all. But what's your input?
So I'm personally a former geographer by nature. That's where my interest in the climate comes in. But then I was 16 years at Deutsche Bank, so I'm a former risk manager. But what I've brought, I hope, to the company is some structure and how we can develop the products and do it in a way that a PLC should.
Yeah. If we were to get together this time next year, what do you think we'll be talking about?
Well, hopefully we're looking at a similar graph to what we've seen thus far, potentially even a jump, because, as I said, if we can land one of these large shipping companies that we're talking to, then we are immediately profitable and potentially dividend paying. So hopefully we'll be having a much easier conversation about how institutions are trying to get in, and the existing shareholders are holding strong.
Well, look, do get back in touch when the door knocks and you get the big client, and we'll meet again and we'll talk a little bit more about what it means to the business. But in the meantime, thanks, Ben.
Yeah, thanks. It's been great to
chat. It's been really good. Nice to talk to you. It's Ben Richardson. He's the chief executive of SulNOx, a company on the Aquis exchange with some big gains in revenues.